Welcome everyone to this very special episode of the You're Better Off Knowing podcast. We're recording this one from the Measurement Forum 2025 in London. And the Measurement Forum is a meta event bringing together measurement experts from advertisers across EMEA. And we wanted to take the opportunity to get a variety of insights from a broad set of guests. Let's hear what they have to say about their biggest measurement challenges these days and maybe also about their most recent wins.
So we're here at the Meta Measurement Forum for EMEA. It's our flagship event for measurement professionals where we talk about everything that Meta is doing in terms of marketing science. So topics like incrementality, calibration, those are all here. And aside from us, MetaMate speaking, it's clients sharing their success stories. And I think just a great way of bringing this community together.
What are the biggest challenges in measuring advertising effectiveness and efficiency these days? Maybe you can give us a short intro about yourself.
So Daniel Slotwiner, I lead the marketing science team here at Meta. I've been recently back to Meta for about 6 months, but I was here from 2009 to 2019 originally. Well, I can speak from my experience as an advertiser now, having been on the other side. I find the biggest challenge is actually really getting the basics right. It's actually super challenging to be able to simply track your conversions and your marketing investment and aggregate it all back together, even before you get to the measurement stage. So just making sure that you actually know how much you're spending where and what you're getting in return is actually super challenging.
So I'm Juan Redondo. I'm the head of data marketing at Fever, which is a company, a marketplace for live experiences, so that you can go into our web or app and find the best experiences in your city. So I would say that the biggest challenges are that usually there are like several things happening at once, right? So you have seasonal effects, you have new creatives being introduced into the campaigns, you have many things that can change at once. So in terms of measuring the effectiveness, it is a challenge to understand mostly what is working rather than the effectiveness as well. And also understand the synergies and individual effects. So you can detect some individual effects, but not always the synergies between different things. And also, like running tests, like well done or performed incremental test has a cost. So how to prioritize when it is relevant to do that incremental test or that test. Yeah. So we try to have like be fast on what we do. So we try to like gather all the ideas, things that people have, run a lot of pre-tests that we call. It is more like just implementing and measure pre-post effect of those ideas or strategies. And then we try to get the signals or some early signals from there. And then we go into more like robust and also more costly experiments afterwards. And this is one of them. And then sometimes we try to isolate variables, but we want to avoid like being trapped into optimal minimums. So from time to time, we try to change several variables at once. So it can be any changing different variables of the marketing campaigns that we're doing at once, of the configuration, or any other things that involves more channels.
So my name is Jaeger-Wolfe. I've been with Meta for nearly 5 years in January. And maybe my background is more of a classic market research. I've been to Ipsos, GfK, WPP, and then ended up here. So something we hear more and more, and I also heard today actually at this wonderful event, is that more and more measurement experts actually do understand how important incrementality is for measuring not only advertising but everything really, but they're finding it very hard to get access to the CFOs and the right people who can make the change and change the relevant KPI. So that is, I think, a key issue.
So I'm leading the marketing science for EMEA at Meta, but I have 30 years of experience in marketing analytics and digital. Well, I think that the topic has been ever, challenged and discussed, but I think we are living a moment where it's almost like I would say a paradox of garbage in, garbage out. On one side, it's never been more accessible to potentially measure to the use of open source, the development of the data infrastructure. Platforms like Meta or Google are currently opening tools that are currently making this accessible. And machine learning are also progressing and making the cost of processing large amount of data accessible. On the one hand, it's possible. On the other hand, there's an increasing complexity of defining properly the KPIs, building up the right model. And I think it's down to the complexity of the consumer journey, the transformation of it, and how we adapt the practice and the strategy that are currently going alongside. So we follow the consumer, and the consumer is following and changing quickly. So to do that, we have to develop the different suite of tools, combine multiple sources, whether it's experiments, the build-up of attribution models, and the development of more probabilistic models that are currently all calibrated to that. So the fact that basically it's becoming ever more complex and required to have multiple suite of tools is probably one of the ever challenge for many marketers.
My name's Phil Mitchelson. I'm the VP of Global Growth at Superbet. We are a Romanian gambling company, origin. We're now in Romania, Belgium, Poland, Serbia, and we have just launched in Brazil 18 months ago, where we've managed to become number 3 in the market in 18 months. There's an overload of data more than anything. We're data obese now, and I think it's trying to find the noise in the signals and the signals in the noise to come together. In a gaming world, we have multi-channel, multi-platform, app install, reinstall, deletion, affiliate links, you name it. Absolute abundance are fragmented journeys, so it's bringing those fragmented journeys together. And actually, from a gaming perspective, our customers come back day in, day out, and actually it's not that one-hit purchase every 6 months, 7 years like a car. It could be every 5 hours, it could be every 2 days. So it's huge for us to track that fragmented journey all the way through. We're kind of going down 3 routes. We are building our own kind of MMM internally. We've had MMMs in the past from external partners, but now we want to build that living, breathing organism from a macro scale. We are investing more into geo-lifts for that incrementality layer, and then really embracing the conversion APIs. We're not the best, we're getting there at a macro level. So that's the kind of the tooling side of things. Internally, from a people perspective, we are looking more at the learning hypothesis, the test agenda. It's being embedded into the post-campaign analysis and the pre-planning of everything we do to make sure that it's front and center in everyone, from CEO to junior, you name it. And then last but not least, it's really investing in our LTV model. We've got a wonderfully talented machine learning team, great BI data team who come together. And if you can imagine the thousands, hundreds of thousands of variations in a gambling customer, from sport, from volume, from time of day, they're building very strong, accurate, predictive models for us, which is a wonderful knock-on into our world in Meta, into Google, into Quai, you name it, that we use to power. It's the kind of the spine of everything we do.
I'm Tom. I'm a marketing data scientist at BackMarket, working on MMM and experimentation.
Yes, and my name is Tanguy. I'm a data analyst on all marketing topics at BackMarket, like for almost 6 years.
With GDPR and privacy laws, there are complications that are very good. It's certainly historically were very difficult to get around in terms of tracking conversions back to a user. I think Meta's done a great job through Chapin to help us alleviate that. But yeah, I would say really that is the biggest challenge for us. And it really does make experimentation through like conversion lift studies so vital.
Yes, I think we can say that it's kind of creative constraints we have, and these constraints maybe had some role like in the development or all experimentation, like by Meta, like CLS, GeoX. So I think that it was like more difficult, but there are more and more tools to face all these challenges now.
I think so many people now are familiar with the marketing measurement trifecta. So you've got the experimentation piece, you've got the MMM piece, and you've got your real-time attribution piece. But they all have blind spots, they all have their weaknesses, and they all have their pros and cons. So really for us, and I think for so many people now, it is about finding a way in which we can link those together to really cover the blind spots. MMM is the big project I've been working on at the minute, and it's vital that we really calibrate those MMMs with the experimentation results that we get from conversion lift tests or even from geo tests, like Tanguy mentioned.
I would say that it's we have many tools provided by Meta, but also we have like teams, people from Meta, like the marketing science partners, the account managers. So we have the tools, but it's not only just like, self-service stuff. They are helping us a lot, like to educate us about all elements available. For instance, like with AA, Advanced Analytics, that we want to develop in the most mature markets. So I think it helps us a lot to educate also our business stakeholders. So it's like someone today spoke about like it's always a loop. So I think these people combined with the tools, it's like a virtuous circle. So I think it's a combination.
I'm Yiğit. I'm leading marketing science and measurement for Just Eat Takeaway globally. So that's mainly the analytical muscle of the growth marketing team, where we own the entire paid media. I believe the biggest challenge is measuring the effectiveness itself, because we are a digital native business, and like all of them, or most of the digital businesses, we were measuring effectiveness based on click-based attribution. And you know, click-based attribution is has its own shortcomings when it comes to explaining the effectiveness. It is more suitable for maybe efficiency measurements, and the challenge is still there. The challenge is still finding the right set of tools to measure how you are contributing to the business outcomes. So I believe now the entire industry has certain level of understanding, or at least awareness, about marketing effectiveness measurement framework. I believe both Meta and Google is also pioneering this idea, and we are also part of that. We are also part of that camp. We are adopting incrementality measurement, extensive incrementality measurement. We are bringing MMM, and we are also reviewing our digital attribution methodology, and try to create a system of truth where we can look at the different part of that system to answer different kind of questions.
So to summarize this, we heard about quite some challenges, but also solutions here, some of which we have also discussed in earlier episodes. First, data gets more and more complex and fragmented, but you can also invest in and utilize better tools and data infrastructure. Second, also consumer journeys are getting more and more complex. There's hardly a measurement solution covering everything perfectly, and it's also hard to either isolate parallel factors or measure their synergies. But combining and triangulating multiple measurement approaches and calibrating with incremental experiments is really essential to get most valid results. And last but not least, fostering collaboration and education across internal departments drives most effective measurement strategies. And thinking back on the last 10 years, do you think these challenges have rather increased or decreased? What has changed?
So I've been working in marketing for a bit more than 5 years now. So in my case, and in the particular case of Fever, it was more about the scale that we have been gaining. So when I joined the company, we were still small, and the main challenge was to, kind of find the hacks for making campaigns work and get the ball rolling. Then at the initial steps of scaling, it was easy. It was just have these playbooks, repeat whatever you're doing, expand, every kind of expansion that we can do. And now it is we're gaining more scale, more entity, and it is more difficult to measure the incremental effects, because your baselines are already bigger, and it is not as visible to understand what's driving the growth here and what's driving the performance here. And also I would say that many of the things in the ad product world have improved, and it is very good, but it translates the complexity somewhere else. So now things on average work better, but the complexity is translated into the people who are operating those and understanding exactly what they can do to improve it. And that is an important part that I think has evolved during the last 10 years, and that has changed also. It is an additional challenge, because it requires cultural challenge in the organizations, upskill of a lot of people, changing the things that we're doing. So those two things, the different phases of scaling and also the changes in the ad product.
I think challenges have increased. We've got more data, but we're asking better questions. So the tooling we've got is getting stronger, cleverer. The individuals are learning more, and from an AI platform structure, that's helping us. But you still need those individuals who ask the right question, which I think would have been 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago. So I think there's a common theme. We have to be hungry. We are a starter with a beard, let's say. So we're hungry, we're challenging for podium positions in every market we go to. And with that comes a real kind of pioneer spirit and a test and learn mentality, which you have to embrace those challenges from privacy, from the kind of just the fundamentals of gambling legislation, to be honest, all layer into a very complicated market for us.
Yeah, I think for sure privacy laws, GDPR has meant that we really have to move to these aggregated, or we have to rely on tools like MMM, which really works in aggregate. I think in general, you could say that it's more challenging as a result of that. But on the flip side, we see some really great tools. We've seen the revolution of open source MMM, and really an entire community now focused on building these tools. So it's pros and cons to everything, right?
Actually, challenges have increased if you look at the challenges from the legacy perspective, click-based attribution perspective. But I see it more like an opportunity, because before we were so convinced that we can measure effectiveness by looking at click-based attribution. So thanks to everything around GDPR, that system broken, and it is maybe the best thing that happened to our industry, because it forced us to rethink about effectiveness measurement. And thanks to all the improvements on the technology, MMMs becoming more available and easier to set up, and evolving capabilities on incrementality experimentation on platforms, I believe we are actually in a better state.
So most experts believe that challenges in advertising measurement have generally increased due to greater complexity, scaling, and privacy regulations. However, technological advancements and improved measurement frameworks have also created new opportunities, making the industry more capable and resilient than it was 10 years ago. And what's your ask on the industry out there?
Like, we try to do like this. Okay, we're going to change several things at once and try to derive like different effects and then isolate things for more robust testing. Like, there is something on incrementality that where we can work and get some of the levers of that incrementality whenever we change more than one thing. And second one would be maybe the cross-channel measurement. So every channel, every platform independently have evolved into improving a lot of their products on measurement and incrementality, or showcasing incrementality. But there is nothing for cross-channel like new. Like really new, like all the methods that we do for cross-channel or cross effects are what we have. Like everyone have their own data to improve as much as they can their own thing, but there is nothing to understand like the full scope, or the techniques are already classic.
It's a pipe dream, but everyone's making some incredibly cool, smart tools. But how do we create that kind of interoperability standardization? Because everyone speaks a slightly different language, maybe the same language with a different accent, and actually some sort of standardization from MMM to incrementality to attribution, even to platform, never going to happen. That would be my nirvana.
I think for me, it would be more tooling on MMM, more collaboration, finding a standardized way to really combine measurement across all channels to really enrich these models, because I think it's the way the future of marketing measurement's going.
Yes, I think I'm aligned with Tom, like about this difficulty of getting a holistic vision, like quite quickly, because it's always a mix between velocity, tactical stuff, and this holistic view is super difficult to have, but it will be super valuable. But experimentation takes time, so yes, the holistic view will be like our dream, I think. Holistic and reliable.
Yeah, so I believe it's already happening, but I really expect the entire industry to go back to basics and try to understand how our activities are contributing to the business instead of focusing on your own KPI and make it beautiful on paper, because that connection is missing when you look at it from that perspective. You really need to keep it like you are contributing to a grocery store, a corner store, rather than running for let's say very big advertiser or very big enterprise.
So I think these very good asks reflect a desire for the industry to move beyond siloed, channel-specific measurement and towards a unified, business-driven and collaborative approach. Our experts are asking for more robust and cross-channel incrementality measurement, standardization and interoperability of tools and methods, and a better collaboration and tooling for holistic measurement, but also a renewed focus on business outcomes over vanity metrics. Yeah, and as regular listeners to this podcast know, we care a lot about incrementality at Meta. That's we strive a lot to make this a source of truth. So can you tell us why?
Doing really good measurement is, I kind of liken it to like painting a house, where putting the last couple coats of paint on is really is about 5% of the job. The sort of 95% of the job is that basic investment in sanding, plastering, getting everything ready. But then once you've done that, you really want to have the cleanest measurement you can possibly have, and there's nothing better than randomized controlled experiments for that. Now, like that should be a source of truth, but that's super hard to do on a consistent long-term basis. So it's got to be part of a overall plan that uses that information to calibrate or triangulate, as we say, kind of more pragmatic approaches like MTA or MMM.
And I mean, on the event today, we talked a lot about incrementality as source of truth. What do you think about that? What do you think about calibrating other tools with incrementality?
Every point in that trifecta has its pros and cons. And I think translatable results, no matter the channel, the more data we have, the more insights we have, the better we can reduce the bias in these models, and the better insights we can get from them, and really ultimately drive growth for all of our organizations.
And what are your experiences at BackMarket actually with it? How do you do it?
I think that we implemented like quite quickly a culture of experimentation, test and learn culture. Why we succeeded to do that? I think because we did like big swings. It's something that was evoked today. Like the first attempt was super successful in terms of results, and it completely embarked all the stakeholders about the interest of experimentation. If we would have missed like these first steps, probably the past would have been more complex. But because we embark, people show like finance team, marketing teams with the same language and with the help of meta team, like the impact of experimentation. I think incrementality became a clear word for everybody at BackMarket.
You already talked about incrementality as source of truth and how you use other tools alongside it. So can you share a little bit how you work with incrementality as maybe a calibration factor for other tools?
Sure. Our journey with incrementality started about in 2021, and it is also a good thing that we started with incrementality testing. And over time, we created an actual framework out of it, and we found ways to make it scalable for the business. And now we are also in a transformation phase where we are enabling our entire growth marketing team, where they can own their incrementality roadmap, experimentation roadmap, and implement tests on scale. And of course, that's the backbone of the effectiveness measurement framework. What we are doing is we are also using all these insights or experimentation results to calibrate other tools in our tool set like MMM and attribution. And I believe it is pretty much what we are doing with incrementality experimentations nowadays.
I mean, you touched incrementality already. So what do you think about incrementality as a source of truth? Do you use it? You calibrate other things maybe?
Sure. I mean, incrementality is huge for us. So we have pretty humongous marketing budgets, especially in Brazil. Brazil, we operate very... we really try and push the agenda in terms of what we can test. So we run double doubles or double doubles, which are where we would take, say, €100,000 test, double it to 200, double it to 400, double it to 800. It takes commitment, it takes confidence, it takes courage and conviction, a lot of C's there. But with that, it means that you get clarity. All the geo-lifts we do across states, especially in Brazil, 220 million people. So that incrementality helps us calibrate our models. But I think it's a calibration of all three, and we've heard it earlier today, but actually, for me, they set a direction, a wedge of direction. It will never be a laser, but I think layering testing on top of that will help your wedge narrow and your angle tighten up slightly.
I mean, you touched about incrementality already a little bit. So what do you think about incrementality as a source of truth in general? How do you use it?
Yeah, so we ran several incrementality lift tests. Well, first of all, with Meta over the year. And we have some, things with incrementality is that you cannot, sometimes the results are not, you need to adapt some internal processes to operate the results. Because maybe the KPI that people are looking at during their day-to-day operations are not the same as the results that you can see on the incrementality lift test. So we take it as a source of truth and try to adapt our processes to get the most incremental results. And yeah, also we have another external, other big digital channels. We are running some incrementality tests. And then we also do some geo-lift experiments as well outside the platforms for validating from pricing to marketing effects to any other algorithm that or actions that we change in our company.
Great, brilliant. And last thing actually, so I've heard you're also running multi-cell testing to compare different strategies and approaches. So maybe can you share some examples on what you tested and then what you found on Meta, maybe even off Meta?
Yeah. So on Meta, I would say the most important one during the last, let's say, couple of years was related to simplifying our campaign structure. So as we were saying, all the systems, all the automation systems has improved a lot the performance of marketing campaign when delegating some of the decisions. And we ran over 15 tests to validate this, and like we're having different results, or also we need to validate different geographies, and we were like doing different tests to make that campaigns were less like the composition of campaigns was delegating more and more into Meta, and it took a bit of time to like accumulate the evidence to confidently delegate everything, or not everything inside that scope of decision making to Meta in terms of budget allocation, audiences and creatives.
And one of the hottest topic actually on this forum is one of Meta's latest solutions, incremental attribution. Can you talk a little about what that is, what it does?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, I just mentioned incrementality. So incremental attribution actually is leveraging this golden standard that we have. And there we are, it actually has been available since the beginning of 2025 already. And it's leveraging 10 years, so by more or less a decade worth of conversion lift. And we use that information from these conversion lifts to train our AI. And that AI can now optimize towards addressing, optimizing for target groups that are actually more likely to convert incrementally.
That is very exciting. So can you already share examples how it works?
So we, of course, first of all, as we always do, did a meta study with several advertisers across the globe, and there we've seen 46% lift, which is obviously quite impressive. And just recently we had a great external case study coming out with HelloFresh, and they saw 40% incremental lift in their subscriptions.
So I'm Julian. I am a product marketing manager working here in our London office. I look after our EMEA go-to-market for some of our key products like value optimization and incremental attribution. I've been at Meta for 7 years now, but always kind of been in like the social media space and audience development. So yeah, feeling very happy to be here and joining you guys at the Measurement Summit.
I'm very happy to have you. And you already mentioned you are working on incremental attribution for clients in EMEA. So that's a rather new product, kind of combining measurement and optimization. So can you tell us a little bit about how this product came about, what it does?
Yeah, for sure. The product has kind of been developed in order to address some of the limitations that some attribution models like click-based attribution fail to kind of consider which conversions are truly a result of the ad that's being shown. And so what this product aims to do is to optimize in real time based on a lot of our conversion lift data that we have put into our AI systems to make sure that we are making a prediction for which conversions are more likely to be a result of the ad being shown.
That's pretty fascinating and probably also pretty complex. So can you tell us a little bit about the challenges or the key considerations you had when defining a product like that?
Yeah, definitely. I think it is always hard to kind of like know for sure which conversion is kind of like more incremental than another, right? And I think one of the key questions that we kind of get is around whether the model is broadly applicable and whether the data ever becomes like stale, right? So I think one of the things that we've really had to consider is like, how do we build this model? How do we integrate it with existing systems? And then how do we continue to make refinements and improvements to ensure that this model and this product is able to be used for all different types of businesses in a specific but also broad way.
Exciting. And how do you think this new product will change campaign measurement in the future?
I think what we will start to see is that for folks that value incrementality and kind of like opt for this type of optimization and measurement style is that there will be a little bit more alignment, I suppose, hopefully with business objectives and how people think about how their ad dollars are effectively spent. I think there's especially like a big call out for advertisers that maybe use a last click attribution model. there is a world where this type of strategy doesn't necessarily accurately assign and attribute value across the different channels that you might use in your customer journey and in your campaigns. So I think it's an exciting time to kind of like test and learn to see what kind of works for your business and how the metrics kind of move when you do experiment with this type of product. But yeah, I think we're hoping to start to see a shift towards being able to really understand how to best use your ad dollars in the most effective way.
Exciting times to come. Thanks for joining. Thanks for the insight. Maybe also a teaser for the audience. One of the next episodes will be fully about that new product, and we will have advertisers speaking about it as well. So looking forward to that one too. One thing that we're also discussing a lot is value optimization. So optimizing for value instead of just the number of conversions. So can you talk us a little bit through that, what it is and what experience we have?
Yeah, I'm very excited about this topic. This is something I could see from my experience in Asia Pacific. Some of the advertisers I've seen there, sometimes we say, innovation comes from a very strong necessity. And you could see that there was a mandate for many of these large advertisers, particularly, I remember, in the gaming industry, to optimize for value. So for them, acquiring the customers with the highest propensity to buy or to monetize is almost defining the P&L, their profit in the future and the life cycle of their game. So I could see that developing. I could see also e-commerce, for those who are currently developing e-commerce as a cross-border opportunity to export, becoming more and more on the practice of being less reliant on price sensitivity or promotions, and defining the tactics to develop the most valuable repeaters, or the opportunity to buy the buyer that are currently having the biggest yield for the campaigns.
And this was it from Measurement Forum 2025. A big thank you very much to all our guests. Measurement continues to evolve and collaboration keeps us ahead. Now this was a very special episode, so of course I would love to hear your feedback on this slightly different format. And as always, if you liked it, please subscribe, share and stay tuned for the next episodes. Bye.